No, hello there. Well, there's a few people I recognize in the group. Welcome. My name is Peace Simmons. I am one of a lot of people who do ministry out of this place, out of this church, and I'm the minister, I'd say, and the person who tries to help lead worship and figure out what we do as far as our social justice programs do, how we respond to need in the community, and how we let the community know that there are a lot of needs out there, a lot of things we haven't thought about, addressed, and continue to need to think about and be in relationship with. In terms of my own involvement, before knowing his presence here and being really happy that he is here, I spent a little bit of time in Palestine and Bethlehem as an ecumenical accompanier in 2020, just before COVID asked us all to leave. Palestinians are allowed to enter into their own territory so they can be transported to Jerusalem or Tel Aviv and work for Israelis. There are 10,000 people a day that come through checkpoint 300, and I would stand there with my colleagues. We'd have a vest on and we'd be clearly identified as human rights observers. And people from time to time would come up and ask us where we come from. And I would be there perhaps that day with somebody from Norway or somebody from Sweden or somebody from Germany. And they would introduce themselves in their country and they would be welcomed and thanked. And I would say I'm from Canada, and more often than not somebody would say, oh, America Light. So I thought it was kind of an appropriate comment to share with you at this time about what we do and who we are, who we stand with, and how the world really sees us. I think we carry an image of ourselves. I went over there with all kinds of Canadian flag pins because I thought, when I was a kid, considering traveling throughout Europe in the 70s, I knew that would be a popular thing, but it's certainly not in Palestine these days popular to be a Canadian. We support and are complete lockstep with the American government. And we'll be doing something about that later on. This month, Eden's organizing meetings with our MP, and we're having a vigil on November the 29th, which is the International Day of Solidarity for people, for Palestinians in the world, trying to raise the attention of Canadians to the situation that's happening there under occupation. So as Canadians, I think we have a lot to think about, not only in our own country and how we've been with Indigenous people here and establishing reconciliation and renewal, but also how we are in the world and whether we're part of the colonizing forces that are trying to lock the world down, or whether we're part of a movement towards justice and freedom, as Martin Luther King used to say, that arc of the universe which tends towards justice. May we help it bend a little bit further. So I'd like to thank you for coming here, for sharing with us your latest of a long line of digging into the issues that are present in our country and helping us see ourselves, so that we could, you don't know yourself until you know yourself. You can't change until then. Well, thank you for that. And now I'm going to introduce, I'm sure your name went in one ear and out the other.
Roger asked me to come and read a few poems. My name is Teresa Wolfwood, Terry. And like you, I have been in Palestine as a human rights observer, picking olives, planting olive trees, and working with Palestinian people. And when you identify yourself as a Canadian who opposes the Canadian government, they accept you. Yeah. Because they, after all, most of them oppose their government.
It's true.
Recently we saw on the internet the story of Nail El-Barghouti, who has been in prison for 41 years out of his 64 years. He is the longest serving political prisoner, Palestinian prisoner in an Israeli jail. And a picture of the bedroom that awaits him when he is freed was an award-winning photograph in a book called Habibi, a book of photographs, and Habibi is the Arabic word for beloved. So when I saw the picture, I was moved to write this poem. It's called The Bedroom. where the floor so polished the black brogues are mirrored in the sunlight, beneath a dark suit waiting. After so many years, dated and unfashionable as are the shoes in this day of denim and white canvas. For 41 years, lovingly brushed daily as clothes wait to hang loose on a shrunken frame. When the prisoner returns to rest on the smooth, pink-covered bed, to gaze out the window at blue skies and olive trees. Oh, out the open gate into the sunlight where jubilant thousands crowd to glimpse him, remember him, and to rejoice as he steps light-footed on greeting ground in those black shoes. Gaunt in his dark suit, he will be touched, embraced, kissed, to be loved again after 41 years. Like freedom and peace, a steadfast hope fulfilled, never to see bars and perpetual shades of gray again. To inhale the scent of zatar, not the stench of human waste. To enter, to leave as he wishes, in a verdant land that knows no occupier. Blessed to be called so often, not by number, but Habibi from the throats of many. To taste the warm taboon bread with zatoon olive oil, and to rest peacefully in this rose-tinted room, his home in a land of fragrant love. So that is the hope that many people hold. And his family wait, and his friends wait daily for his release and for the freedom of Palestine. The other poem is a poem written by another person called Barghouti, which is the most common name in Palestine, and they're not related as far as we know. Mourid Barghouti was a prominent poet of Palestine, living in exile in Egypt and now in Jordan until he died last year. And this poem of his is one of my very favorites. It's called It's Also Fine. It's also fine to die in our beds, on a clean pillow and among friends. It's fine to die once, our arms crossed over our chest, empty and pale, with no scars, no scratches, no chains, no banners, and no petitions. It's fine to have an undusty death. No holes in the shirts, no evidence in the ribs. It's fine to die with a pillow, not the pavement under the cheeks. And to our hands resting, with our hands resting in those of our beloveds, surrounded by desperate doctors and nurses, with nothing left but a grateful farewell, paying no attention to history, leaving this world as it is, hoping that someday someone else will change it. And I find that a very appropriate poem whenever activists get together, because we are the people who are going to change the world. And I wrote a poem about us. And we are the canaries. The canaries, this is a coal mining country, so we all know what canaries were used for. We are the canaries in the mine shaft of daily fear and suffocating greed that the world, we, and even to the smallest fly, will die snuffed by poison emanating from crazed leaders, from military and media moguls, from the toxic fumes of lies that pour from the laboratories of prevarication. Silken words, false images, invisible atoms poured into vessels everywhere, billboards, expert sources, surveys, sales flyers, policy papers from consultants, restructured companies, governments, whole countries. The miasma of conspiracy so powerful that the very air we breathe is threatened. But we are the canaries, smelling the methane of death and greed. We go ahead, resolute in our rallies, our meetings, our words, our walks, our deeds become a chorus bearing witness against prophecy and the deceit of greedy promise. We sing even ever in the dark places to prisoners without light. We sing into the open skies and the empty streets. And we will sing and sing until our frail lungs exhale our truth. That will enclose the busy, the apathetic, the otherwise occupied, in golf courses and cruises with the magic of malls, and those who have no strength and lack bread, and those who hear only bombs and bullets but lack shelter. We will sing until they all hear us, sing until they lift up and join us, singing until we all sing together. We will be as a host of golden birds, rising from invisible and deep places, and we will banish the fear, and we will transform the power of desecration, and our song will restore the earth, and the sun will rise in you to embrace us all and to celebrate us on a pure and listening morning. Thank you.